You know, while you are looking up the fireworks tonight, there is a massive, and I mean incredibly quiet shift happening right beneath your feet.
Yeah, there really is.
Because artificial intelligence just became boring. And honestly, that is the biggest, most important news of 2026.
Right. Boring is a big deal now.
It's a huge deal. I mean, it's Saturday, July 4th.
Uh-huh.
And depending on where you are listening to this deep dive, you might be, smelling barbecue, or maybe you're stuck in what feels like the absolute busiest travel weekend of the entire year.
Oh, the traffic right now is just, yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild. But the financial markets are closed, the parades are wrapping up, and tonight the sky is going to light up. It's a day of collective pausing. We look up, we celebrate, and we just we take a breath.
Yeah, it's that rare moment where the normal, frantic pace of business just completely stops for a day.
Exactly. And that pause gives us a chance to look at the reality of where we actually are right now. We've got a great stack of sources here today, anchored by the 4 p.m. news brief from the Daily Tech Reader. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how the really flashy, hype-driven tech cycle of the past few years has, well, it's suddenly matured.
It's grown up.
It really has. It's quietly become the invisible infrastructure running your daily life, your career, and the global economy. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because often the most profound changes aren't the loud, explosive ones, right?
No, not at all. They're the ones that become so integrated into our daily routines that we just stop noticing them entirely.
Right. Which brings me back to this idea that AI has become boring.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this analogy. For the last few years, AI has been like a Formula One race car.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Because it's unbelievably fast. It's on the absolute cutting edge of engineering, and everyone crowds around it to take pictures.
Yeah, but it's not practical.
Exactly. It requires a team of like 20 specialized engineers just to turn the engine on, and it costs $10 million a year to run.
Yeah.
But today, in 2026, AI has gone from being that flashy Formula One car to being a Honda Odyssey minivan.
A minivan.
Yeah, a minivan. You put the kids in the back, you turn the key, and it just works. It's totally reliable.
That's a great way to look at it.
So based on the briefing today, why are tech leaders suddenly so focused on, operational costs and measurable productivity rather than just showing off cool new features?
Well, because they aren't trying to win a race on a track anymore.
Right.
They're trying to commute to work every single day. What we are seeing in the sources is a definitive shift from experimentation to execution.
Execution, got it.
Yeah. Enterprise AI has become foundational business infrastructure. I mean, it's no longer a separate novel department run by a few experimental engineers.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. AI agents are moving deeply into routine, everyday production workflows.
So the brief specifically notes that foundation models are now competing primarily on efficiency and operational cost.
Yes.
Can you, explain the mechanics of that? Why is a fraction of a cent suddenly so important now?
Think about the massive scale of a modern enterprise. 2 years ago, the competition was purely about capability.
Like, who has the smartest model?
Right. Who has the most creative, smartest model? But now, the baseline models are all highly capable across the board.
Yeah.
So if you have a company of, say, 50,000 employees.
Wow, okay.
And every single employee is using an AI assistant to summarize emails, to draft reports, to analyze data, and they're doing this 50 times a day.
That's a lot of queries.
It's millions of queries every single day. If each query costs a few cents, your operating costs will literally bankrupt you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that.
So the competition now is really about who can compress that model and run it at a fraction of a cent per query without losing any of that accuracy.
It's the difference between, buying one artisanal cup of coffee just to see what it tastes like versus supplying coffee for a massive corporate office for an entire year.
Exactly.
You need it to be highly cost-effective, and you just need it to be reliable.
And part of that drive for efficiency is the massive push toward edge computing.
Okay, yes.
Which the brief highlights as becoming basically standard practice now.
Let's talk about that phrase, edge computing, because it is all over this briefing.
It is.
For someone who isn't an IT architect, what does it actually mean to move AI to the edge?
Well, consider how AI typically works, right?
Yeah.
You ask a question on your device.
Right.
That request travels hundreds of miles through fiber optic cables to some massive server farm in the cloud.
Somewhere in, Virginia or whatever.
Exactly. The server computes the answer and then sends it all the way back.
Which, to us, feels instant. but it actually takes a fraction of a second.
Right, and that fraction of a second is called latency.
Latency, okay.
Now, for writing an email, latency really doesn't matter. But imagine a hospital heart monitor hooked up to a patient.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Right. If the AI detecting an anomaly has to send that data all the way to a distant server and back, well, a network hiccup could be fatal.
That's terrible.
It is. So edge AI means the processing power is located right there on the physical device.
Ah, on the edge of the network.
Exactly. On the factory floor or right in the hospital room. The monitor itself is making the decision in real time.
So it completely removes that round trip to the cloud.
It does, which reduces latency, cuts data transmission costs, and vastly increases reliability.
Okay, I hear you on the reliable minivan idea, and the efficiency of edge computing definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
But I want to pump the brakes on this, like, totally smooth ride narrative just a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
Because minivans still get recalled.
They do.
If we look back at a previous post from the Daily Tech Reader, this is from June 1st of this year.
Right, I remember that one.
The top story was Florida becoming the first state to sue OpenAI over ChatGPT's safety failures.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't sound like invisible, seamless infrastructure to me. There are clearly some serious safety growing pains happening.
Oh, absolutely. But that friction is exactly what happens when a technology graduates from a controlled lab environment to the real world.
Right.
We aren't looking at the Florida lawsuit to determine, who is legally right or wrong or to take a position on the specific claims.
Oh, of course not, yeah.
We're looking at it to understand the systemic shift it represents for the entire industry.
A shift toward what exactly?
Accountability
Right.
and governance.
Okay.
I mean, when an AI was just generating fun images or writing poems for you, a failure or a hallucination was basically a joke.
Right, it was funny. Look at this weird picture with 6 fingers.
Exactly. But when AI is integrated into healthcare diagnostics or those edge computing medical devices we just talked about,
Critical enterprise financial software.
yes, then a failure has severe real-world consequences. This is exactly why the sources point out that AI governance platforms are maturing.
It's forcing them to mature.
Exactly. And medical AI regulation continues evolving. The legal and regulatory frameworks are finally catching up to the technology.
So the lawsuit is actually, in a way, a catalyst for the industry growing up.
Yes, it is. It's why the brief emphasizes that reliability increasingly differentiates AI platforms.
Meaning they don't just want the smartest one anymore.
Right. Enterprise companies and hospitals, they want the safest, most governable one. They need to know exactly how it makes decisions.
They want the AI that actually stops at the stop sign every single time, no matter what.
Exactly.
Which leads really naturally to my next question. If we are running these AI systems constantly, whether it's on a massive server farm in the cloud or on an edge device in a hospital, what is powering all of this?
Energy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we're sitting here in the middle of a massive July heat wave.
it is so hot out there.
Millions of Americans are running their air conditioning right now. The power grid is already stressed. How does all this digital infrastructure coexist with our physical reality?
This is perhaps the most critical bottleneck of 2026.
Really? The bottleneck.
Yes, because the cloud isn't actually floating in the sky.
Right. It's a physical thing.
It's sitting on the ground in massive data centers. And it is incredibly thirsty for electricity.
Wow.
AI data centers are now the primary driving force behind long-term electricity demand.
Just to run the AI.
Training these foundation models, sure, but more importantly, running them 24/7 for those millions of daily queries we talked about, it takes a staggering amount of continuous power.
So how are utility companies possibly handling this? The brief mentions they are actively preparing for sustained demand, but what does that look like in practice?
It requires a massive physical overhaul. Grid modernization projects are expanding nationwide.
Yep.
We are seeing massive capital deployed into transmission infrastructure.
Like the power lines?
Yes, the actual physical towers and wires carrying power across state lines.
Mm.
But the most crucial element right now is the surge in battery storage deployment.
Okay, wait. Why is battery storage suddenly the massive priority over just, like, building more power plants?
Because a significant portion of our new energy generation comes from renewables like solar and wind. And those are intermittent.
Meaning they stop.
Exactly. The sun goes down and the wind stops blowing. But the AI data center needs to keep running at 100% capacity all night long.
Oh. So you need to save the energy.
You need utility-scale battery farms to capture all that excess solar power generated at noon.
And then use it later.
Right. Discharge it at 8 in the evening when everyone is running their AC at home and the data centers are still humming.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. We think of AI as this totally abstract software.
Yeah, lines of code.
But capital spending right now is heavily concentrated in physical materials.
Very heavily.
We are talking about pouring concrete, rolling out steel, and stringing miles of copper wire. The physical cost of the digital world is just immense.
It really is.
Even domestic semiconductor manufacturing is expanding rapidly just to physically build the chips these data centers need.
And the irony is that the digital world requires massive physical extraction, but it's a completely symbiotic relationship.
How so?
Well, yes, AI requires vast physical resources, but AI is also accelerating our mastery of the physical world.
Oh, I see.
The technology that's drawing all this power is simultaneously being used to invent the next generation of energy solutions.
Right.
The sources highlight that AI is accelerating scientific discovery across the board.
Give me some examples.
Well, it's driving steady investment in fusion energy, massive advancements in quantum computing research,
Wow.
and even AI-assisted drug discovery and precision medicine.
So we are essentially building a massive digital brain. And the very first thing we are asking that brain to do is figure out how to feed itself more efficiently.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Like using AI to design a better battery chemistry so we can store more solar power to run the AI.
That is exactly the feedback loop we are in right now, and it explains why long-term energy planning increasingly reflects AI-driven economic growth.
They're tied together.
Completely. You cannot separate the digital economy from the physical energy grid anymore. They are entirely interdependent.
Okay, so we are pouring concrete, stringing copper wire, building battery farms, expanding domestic manufacturing. All of that requires raw materials.
Yes, it does.
Where is all this physical stuff coming from, given how fractured the global map is right now? Because none of this domestic growth happens in a vacuum.
No, it requires a very delicate geopolitical balance. But the macro picture is surprisingly stable in some key areas right now.
Really?
Yeah. For instance, global energy markets and oil prices remain relatively balanced. And a major factor there is diplomatic engagement.
Go.
If you look at the May 31st edition of the Daily Tech Reader, it highlights a tentative agreement reached between the U.S. and Iran on the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, but why does a diplomatic agreement about a strait in the Middle East matter for building a data center in, like, Ohio?
Because of the shipping lanes. That diplomatic engagement is keeping commercial shipping uninterrupted through one of the most vital choke points in the entire world.
Which carries the supplies.
Exactly. If a massive cargo ship carrying raw materials or specialized infrastructure components or the precursors for semiconductors cannot get through,
The whole thing stops.
this whole physical expansion of the digital world grinds to a halt.
And what about the ongoing conflicts? Because we still have long-range military operations between Ukraine and Russia, and NATO is obviously continuing its security monitoring in Europe.
True. But despite those ongoing conflicts, global supply chains have demonstrated just incredible resilience.
They've adapted.
They really have. Routes have shifted, new suppliers have stepped up, redundant manufacturing hubs have been established.
That's impressive.
It is. We are also seeing China actively encouraging diplomatic engagement on trade. And there's a growing international priority on climate resilience, which is supported by expanding climate monitoring satellite programs.
So even with the tension, the system holds.
Exactly. The world is highly complex, obviously, but the underlying trade routes that support all this technological infrastructure are maintaining a functional equilibrium.
Okay, so let's bring this down from the global supply chain to the individual listener.
Let's do it.
You wake up on Monday, July 6th, the holiday weekend is over, and you go back to work.
Monday.
Right. But if AI is doing all this heavy lifting, if it's deeply integrated into the enterprise software, what does human work actually look like for you in 2026?
Well, the workplace is fundamentally different, but it hasn't turned into the dystopia some people predicted a few years ago.
The robots didn't take every single job.
No, they didn't. AI skills are now actually among the fastest growing workforce competencies.
Okay.
And the big buzzword across the enterprise sector right now is skills-based hiring.
Skills-based hiring.
Yes, employers care far less about traditional credentials or the specific university degree you hold, and much more about your ability to just be a problem solver.
Okay, wait, stop me there.
Yeah.
Because problem solver is one of those corporate phrases that sounds great but can mean absolutely nothing.
That's fair.
If I am a software developer and the AI coding assistant is writing the actual code. What problem am I solving? What am I doing all day?
You are shifting from being a typist to being an architect.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. In the past, a developer might spend 3 hours writing and debugging the exact syntax just to make a secure database connection work.
The grunt work.
Exactly. Now, the AI writes that syntax in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
The human developer's job is to figure out, does this connection fit the user's overarching needs? Are there weird edge cases the AI missed?
How does it fit into the bigger picture?
Right. How does this integrate with the legacy software we built 5 years ago?
So you become the editor rather than the raw writer.
Yeah.
You just have to know what good looks like.
Yes. And the brief states this very clearly. Human oversight remains essential to enterprise AI.
Essential.
Essential. An AI can generate 1,000 lines of code or a 20-page financial report in seconds, but it lacks the contextual judgment to know if that output actually aligns with the company's strategic goals.
Right. It doesn't know the office politics.
Exactly. It doesn't intuitively know if a subtle error in the logic is going to upset a major client. The human provides the context and the boundaries.
Which means continuous learning isn't just, a nice bullet point on a resume anymore.
No, it's mandatory.
It is the core requirement of the job. You have to constantly learn how to direct the newest version of the AI.
Exactly.
And it seems like the workplace structure itself has finally settled down. The brief notes that hybrid work patterns remain stable.
Yes, they do.
So that massive tug-of-war between fully remote and mandating everyone back to the office, it's finally found a middle ground.
It really has. The enterprise technology space is firmly focused on execution and modernization now.
They don't care where you sit.
Right. Companies have realized that the physical location of the worker matters way less than their ability to effectively manage these new AI tools to drive productivity.
What I find so encouraging in this briefing is that culturally, we aren't just sitting in isolated pods talking to chatbots all day.
Definitely not.
The human element is actively thriving alongside all this digital integration.
Yeah, look at this weekend.
Exactly. Look at what's happening right now. The World Cup knockout stages are drawing massive worldwide attention.
Huge crowds.
Summer movies are bringing people back into physical theaters, live entertainment, holiday festivals. They all have incredibly healthy attendance.
Because people still desperately want human connection.
They do.
It's a profound balance. And even in digital spaces, the creator economy is expanding.
Oh, absolutely.
Podcast audiences remain incredibly strong as people seek out nuanced, human-driven conversations to just, make sense of the world.
Well, we certainly appreciate that part.
We do. We
Right.
really do. And look at the music industry.
Yeah.
A few years ago, there was this massive panic that generative AI would destroy human music.
Right, that it would all be deep fakes.
Exactly. But instead, the industry is actively adapting to AI-assisted production.
Using it as a tool.
Yes. Musicians are using it to enhance their creativity, not replace their core artistry.
So, to bring this all together,
Okay.
we started this deep dive talking about the fireworks tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The loud, traditional celebrations of Independence Day. And what we've discovered, looking at the reality of 2026, is that the defining theme of our current moment is coexistence.
Coexistence. I like that.
We have the tradition of community gatherings and summer baseball happening right alongside the quiet, immense innovation of AI settling in as a dependable, everyday utility.
It is the realization that the future doesn't always arrive with a science fiction bang,
Right.
Sometimes it arrives with a corporate efficiency report, a modernized power grid, and just a slightly faster way to do your daily tasks.
And for you listening to this, the takeaway is actually incredibly empowering.
It is.
In a world that is completely obsessed with digital modernization, edge computing, and operational efficiency,
Yeah.
your curiosity, your commitment to continuous learning and understanding how these systems work, your ultimate competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
You're the essential human oversight the system requires.
Which actually raises a critical question to leave you with today.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we have established today that AI is increasingly resembling essential digital infrastructure, right?
Right.
It's becoming the plumbing of the global economy.
Plumbing. Okay.
And the sources are very clear that human oversight remains absolutely essential. But think about your actual plumbing at home.
Okay. I rarely do.
Exactly. When technology becomes that invisible and that reliable, we naturally stop paying attention to it.
That's so true.
We only think about the pipes when they burst.
Right.
So as AI fades completely into the background of our daily workflows and our lives, How do we maintain that essential human oversight on a system we no longer even notice is there?
Wow, that is a phenomenal notion to mull over while you're looking up at the sky tonight.
Yeah,
If the cutting-edge concept car is now just a reliable minivan, we still have to remember to keep our hands on the wheel.
exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Have a wonderful, safe Independence Day, and we will catch you next time.